Chapter 22. Do It Again. I stared down at her with a blank curiosity. I tilted my head slightly to the left as I looked at the girl who lay so still in the white sheets of the hospital bed. Alice? I said to myself. I recognized the name, but I couldn't remember her face. Until now. She lay in silence as the steady beat of the heart monitor rang through the room. The sounds of footsteps caught my attention. I looked away from Alice to be met with Eve, Hal, and another girl. I think she said her name was Olive when she wrapped up my head. She does look familiar. I must have spent a lot of time with her. You four give me more trouble than you're worth. Maria says next time you're in here, I'm going to have to charge you, Olive sighed. That doesn't seem fair. I mean, you don't exactly have a medical license, Hal smirked. And you don't exactly have a choice, now do you? Olive growled. Well, someone's a bit snippy, aren't they? Hal mumbled under his breath. You'd be snippy too if someone barged into your room and woke you up in the middle of the night, she added harshly. It's not even midnight yet, Eve argued. Look, it may come as a surprise to you, but I don't get to sleep a lot, seeing as I'm the only medic in this forsaken world. When I do get to sleep, I take it, but when someone wakes me up from the few hours I may get every day, well, excuse me if I'm not my cheery self. Well then. Sorry, she apologized. Alice will be fine. Just a sprained ankle, a few cuts and bruises. As for you, John, I'd be careful. You lost a lot of blood. And it's not like I could replace any of it, so you might be a little bit lightheaded. What about his memories? Eve questioned. What could I possibly do about that? Olive rolled her eyes in annoyance. You are snippy when you're tired, Eve snapped. Great observation, she sighed, walking out of the room. She's turning into Alice, Hal joked. All cell phones rang, quieting the room. I looked towards Alice, whose eyes seemed to wince from this. Her gray eyes opened slowly with a disappointed expression. She looked over at me with saddened eyes, and then at the rest of the party. My name is Alice Maria Solano. I was born in Popayan, Cauca, Colombia, but I've lived all over the world. I recently lived in Ohio before I awoke here. My birthday is January 20th, and I'm a military brat, she whispered, as if exhausted. Hey, John, help Alice outside, Hal commanded, leaving the room with Eve. I did what I was told. Alice leaned on my good shoulder as we limped outside. 6 people stood, all staring up at the sky with both fear and curiosity. Blue letters appeared across the white sky, listing the player rankings. The rules of the game are simple. Survive. Player rankings. 1. The hacker. 2. The killer. 3. The brain. 4. The blank. 5. The bomber. 6. The engineer. 7. The hunter. 8. The spy. 9. The fighter. 10. The gymnast. 11. The medic. 12. The princess. Logged out. 13. The map. 14. The memory. Logged out. 15. The photographer. Logged out? I questioned. I stared up at the screen. I'm well aware of what it means. My question is more of, why are there 2 people logged out? Seems like something happened in Territory 4. We should head there in the morning. Maria already made it clear we cannot stay here, and besides, with the team wiped out, it may serve as a new place to live, Hal explained, rather bluntly. What about Leo? Isn't she still up there? Alice questioned, with a hint of sorrow. One person isn't a team. Hal walked over to Alice, taking her weight off my shoulder, and walked back inside. Soon the other girls joined, all but one. Eve remained sitting in the parking lot of the hospital. Silently, she stared into the sky. A cold breeze passed, sending her short hair into her face. Eve lifted her chin, unaffected by the chill. I walked over to the girl with curiosity. Eve, it's cold. We should get inside. Her arms snapped, grabbing onto my left hand with a swift movement. She didn't even look back at me, and yet it was as if she knew exactly where I was. John, I know your mind is messed up right now, but I really need someone here with me. So, even if you don't know who I am, can you just pretend you do? Even for a second, she questioned in a choked tone. I don't know how to react. Confusion filled my mind as I stared down at the girl. She didn't look like she was going to let go anytime soon. My eyes were wide with awkwardness as I sat against the concrete next to her. She did not let go of my hand as I sat. She only tightened her grip. I looked at her soft skin that seemed tired and afraid. Water fell softly down her cheek as she tightened her grip even more. Hey, don't cry, I blurted, unsure of how to comfort her. I soon found arms wrapped around my neck tightly with muffled sobs. I hesitantly put my left arm around her, pulling her in closer. I didn't want to see her like this. I don't want to see her crying. She shouldn't cry. I rested my own head on hers as she cried. Right now I'm her shoulder, and if that can make her happy, I'll be happy to take this responsibility. She finally met her breaking point, didn't she? Eve pulled her face away from me, meeting my glance. I'm sorry, she sobbed. Don't be sorry. Now, why are you crying? I questioned softly. I don't want to be here anymore. I want to go home. I want to know who I am, and I want to know, why me? Why did I have to be taken here? Did I do something wrong? Is this my punishment? What did I do? She questioned between sobs. I don't think any of us did anything to deserve this, I admitted with a gleam in my own eyes. I will not cry. Not in front of her. But there has to be a reason, she wailed. Her eyes begged for the answers that I didn't hold. I wanted to answer her, to give the explanation that I am also searching for. I don't want to see her like this. The Eve I remember is strong and full of joy. Yes, I remember her. I remember her wide smile as she laughed at my lack of technological knowledge. I remember her puffed cheeks as she changed the subject, her playful spirit as we played like children, her shocked eyes as we broke the code locks, when her hair stood on end when we failed, the moment she laid unresponsive against her white carpet, and the soft tone of her voice when she named me. I pulled Eve's chin with my left hand and closed my eyes. Our lips met in a spontaneous movement. Eve didn't break, only wrapped herself tighter around me. She tilted her head slightly to the right, bringing us even closer. I moved my arm to her back, pulling her warmth against me until no space remained between us, as I touched her lips with my own. Eve broke away, staring into my gray eyes with a blissful confusion. I gazed back at the girl with a heavy breath. I'm sorry, I turned away from her in embarrassment. Her hand stroked my cheek, pulling my eyes to be remet with hers. Do it again, she ordered softly.